Hi kiddos, I'm back again and I'm going to read you another story. But before we start today, I wanted to remind you of some things we talked about before about informational stories. So informational books have some things that other stories don't have. Sometimes we'll see things like headings, diagrams, labels, bold words, or captions. Here is an example that shows all of those things. So this blue word where it says sharks is a heading. It tells what the whole section is going to be about. And then we've got the diagram, which is this picture. And you can see that it has labels inside, words pointing out different parts of the picture. In purple down here, it has a caption that tells about the picture. And then over here, you can see one word shows up more than others. That's a bold word. It's darker. Sometimes words are darker, thicker, or sometimes they might even be a different color. So today I'm going to read a story about another kind of insect. And while I'm reading it, I want you to see if you notice any of those features that we just talked about right here in this book. Keep your eyes open. Today's story is called Ants. Ants are social insects. They live in communities just like people do. An ant community is called a colony. The ants in a colony live and work together. Do you notice how that one word is darker than all the others? So we found an example of a bold word. Male ants, a queen ant, and workers live in a colony. Male ants mate with the queen and soon die. The queen spends all her time laying eggs. And now I see a label pointing down to that one big ant that's the queen ant. So we've seen a bold word and a label. Most of the ants in a colony are workers. Workers are female ants. They gather food, they guard the colony from enemies, they work together to raise the young. Workers build the colony's home. The home is called a nest. Workers dig in the soil with their legs. They carve out hundreds of rooms. Tunnels connect the rooms. You see the bold word? And then over here we have a diagram that shows the inside of an anthill. You can see it has some labels and shows the different parts of the anthill. There's a tree trunk and the entrance. Then we've got pine needles and twigs that make up this part. Then these are little baby ants. We've got soil. These are larvae. These are the ants that have hatched. And then we've got the queen and her eggs over there. The queen lays her eggs in one of the rooms. Worm-like larvae hatch from the eggs. Workers clean and feed the larvae in special rooms. So just like the ladybugs that we read about, ants don't look like ants when they first hatch. After a few weeks, the larvae stop eating. They turn into pupa. Some types of pupa wrap up in silk cocoons. Soon, the pupa turn into fully grown ants. So now we have a few more labels. Like all insects, ants have 6 legs. Ants have 2 claws on the end of each leg. With their claws, ants can climb up walls. They can even walk upside down. The 2 antennae on an ant's head always keep moving. Ants use their antennae to taste, touch, and smell. Ants use their antennae to find food. So their antennae do a lot of the 5 senses that we do. Ants may be small, but they are very strong. An ant can lift an object that is 20 times its own weight. And then we have the glossary that tells us about those bold words. And it even has a page that tells us how we can find out more about ants if we wanted to learn more. So I hope you noticed some different things from that story that we see in nonfiction or informational stories. Now that we finished reading about ants, you could choose to write a story about ants, or you could try to find some ants outside and look at them and see if you can find one of their homes, but try not to disturb them. Hope you had fun. See you soon.